morning. It is Friday, October 18th, 2024. This is Option Pit Live. I'm Mark Sebastian, your only option, and I am joined by one queen of the candles, Licia J. Leslie. Good morning, Licia. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a fine morning. The weather has turned here in Austin. It's in the 60s and 70s now, so it's not 100 degrees every day
Ooh,
now, which is nice.
very nice. Very nice. A little bit of fall, huh? A little
Yeah, we're
crispness.
getting a little touch. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's cooled off a little bit down here in Florida. You can feel a little more crisp, like a little less humidity in the air.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a little economic data that just hit. U.S. housing permits month over month, SEP actual down 2.9% versus previous of up. The estimate was down 0.7%. Housing starts actual was 1.354 million versus the estimate of 1.35 million. So basically in line. And the permits was 1.428 versus an estimate of 1.46 million. So a little bit soft there. Nothing crazy. As we're beginning the show, S&P futures are up about 14 points. NASDAQ futures, that's my Chicago S. NASDAQ futures are up about 0.5%, call it 113 points. VIX futures are down about 10 cents. So another day, another up market. Although yesterday's price action was a little odd, didn't you think?
Yes. Yes. And I actually came across a couple of statistics here, Mark. If you want to see my chart,
Yes.
I didn't realize we are in the longest winning streak on the S&P 500 for 2024. We are up 7% in 6 weeks. And literally, this is August 5th. 51,
wow.
just over 5,100 on the S&P 500. We're up there almost 14% from August 5th. I mean,
14% in 2 months.
it's I didn't think it was that much. I didn't think it was that. I mean, I guess we're just not too much further than we were from back here before this little dip. So maybe it isn't that astounding, but quite a move.
I mean, I was astounded by the speed of that recovery out of August 5th. I thought that was pretty spectacular. But I did not realize that we had such a bull run here. That's pretty spectacular. So which brings, let's take a look at some of these charts. What are you seeing in the S&P here?
Well, like you say, yesterday was a little funky after making a new high, complete reversal. But we did hold support here. 58.42, just below that 58.40. Below there, though, we have pretty tight support, 58.14. So I think everyone will definitely be watching the 5,800 level again. Making new highs. My resistance doesn't come in up till 59.26. Of course, 59 will be possibly could be a resistance, but doesn't have to be.
Right.
59.26 is up 80, right? Up 85.
Yeah. You know where we did kind of bounce off of that, I was on the future side. We did run into 5,900 and fail. I don't know if that means anything.
Well, yeah, I would think so. We're there right now. Well, mine is delayed. So are we trading above there right now?
This is 15 minutes. Futures are trading 59.01.
Yeah.
So we're right at it.
Yeah.
So that's been a point of resistance here.
Well, they have traded 16, so 59, 15, 16. So we may try to revisit that. Easily.
Yeah.
I would say.
Speaking of bulls, what do you see in the Nasdaq 100? The Qs.
They have been a little more slow to recovery. They still haven't reached their previous highs here, 503, but not far. Maybe we do that today. We're already 494. Yeah, we may retest. 503 is definitely going to be resistance, that previous high from July. But look how well it's held support along here. And
Pretty impressive.
then, yeah, that comes in today at 487, 487.38. Tested it and makes you kind of want to go short around here, and nope.
Yeah. Nope, we're gonna buy it. Now the one that everybody has been, the one that's been astounding has been the bond market. That has just been an absolute dumpster fire since the Fed.
Yeah, yeah. I had it hold my support with a nice bullish candle. Got a little bit of a pop off of that on TLT. Now we may revisit this 93.31 on TLT. So talk of rate cut, sell off. Now ECB just lowered again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the bond vigilantes are back, right? The central banks can lower, but the real rates of the debt are higher, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Now you had said you wanted to look at, so the two other things I really wanted to look at that you had pointed out were gold, and I wanted to look at silver.
Gold is traded 2,700 today.
It's crazy.
And you know what's amazing is
the
gold
dollar
against the
strength.
dollar.
Right. Like normally gold rallies when the dollar is softening, right?
Exactly.
And
And it hasn't mattered. It hasn't. Look at that move in gold. Look now, gold too. Just a march straight up, holding that support all the way up. I don't have resistance till 27.41. So yeah, nice, really nice move in gold this morning. Held support on that little pullback. But look how powerfully strong the dollar's been.
And the market is rallying with the bonds tanking, the dollar rallying, and gold rallying. The market has gone straight up.
Yeah.
This is a weird rally.
And oil getting crushed again.
And oil getting crushed. It's a really odd rally.
Yeah.
What do you think of silver here? Because that's kind of like,
we
can look at crude if you want when you're done.
Silver looks like a giant. Well, I do have resistance 29.40. That's where you're hitting this morning. It looks like it wants to pop up above there, and looks like, well, it will retest the previous high at 30. And it has room to run. 30 half.
Yeah.
32 maybe even in the future.
It looks like it's ready for a run. And then
it doesn't look as powerfully uptrending. I mean, it is still uptrending, but gold just has that march, Well,
those
silver
gold bugs. There's no silver bugs. Nobody's like, I'm a silver bug. Right? Like there are entire newsletters that write things about gold. Nobody writes a newsletter about silver. I saw you were about to pull up crude. What did you want to talk about there?
Just how every time it's like whack-a-mole, every time it tries to lift its head, it gets whacked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every time, here, whack, here, whack, whack. And this one looked like it was really going to go once it cleared these highs, but that resistance held. Now I think it's just consolidating here. It's going to retest 67, I believe. Maybe we get a triple bottom. I don't know. But yeah. Not pretty.
Did you want to look at
Unless you're short.
Bitcoin? Did you want to look at
Sure.
Bitcoin? Because that thing has been unstoppable.
Sorry, I'm slow from all the certain apps slow my computer and certain ones don't. Here we go. Yeah, bull flagging and Bitcoin. I do have a little resistance up here, 69.5, another 2,000. And then above there, 71, almost 72,000. So yeah, looks like nice bull flag on Bitcoin. We'll see how they do on the weekend.
And we should be very close to getting Bitcoin ETF options here.
Yes.
Which we're very excited about. I know they've been approved. It's just about when they list. So I know Licia and I are exceptionally excited about that to start trading those.
We are.
Just be prepared, folks, because when that hits, that's all we're going to talk about for the next 2 weeks is what's happening in those products. So I hope you're ready to listen to that because you're going to want to. One, because it's going to help you make money, but two, Licia and I are just extremely excited about it, and I hope you guys are too, because again, it is going to be a huge opportunity. Speaking of huge opportunities, let's welcome in our favorite opportunity. His name is the Viking of Volatility. He is Andrew T. Giovinazzi. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm good.
Happy Friday.
It is a crisp Friday morning, but it will be about 60 degrees by noon today.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. But it's getting down, like time to take the hoses off the spigots and stuff.
You got the same weather as us, just minus 30 degrees. So like it's 60, it's like 55, and then it warms to 80 by the middle of the day. We're here. Yeah.
That would be it.
Yeah. So what was your take on the price action yesterday? Because we opened up huge, right? We opened up 35 points, and then by the end of the day, we closed down a point, and it was a really odd. Like they immediately sold it on the open. What was your take on the price action yesterday?
Again, like odd. I think we're once again kind of running against a confluence of events where, so the TSM earnings were pretty good. So that stock totally took off. So that keeps the chip sector growth narrative intact. Remember ASML last week, I think, wasn't as good, or, again, everything's kind of priced for perfection in that sector. So little slip. And that's why I think the Qs haven't reached their highs again, because they sort of pre-priced the growth in the spring. And again, earnings have been good, but not as, what did you say, Mark? You have to pick that top estimate. And if it doesn't hit the top estimate, they're not going to rally.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is what it is earnings with these Mag 7 names in particular, right? Not every stock, but stop looking at consensus with NVIDIA and Apple and names like that. Go to look up all the analyst estimates and find the most ludicrously high one. And that is the one that these companies need to beat.
Right. Yep. And I agree. So that's, I think, and so, like when we launched a few weeks ago, like we thought, well, maybe the rest of the market is now kind of catching up. We're with the Great Eight. You had that they were leading, still have earnings growth. And I think S&P 500 earnings are at an all-time high. So I think that's the big driver of stocks in general, right? Stocks have been going up my whole, when I started, I can't remember. I think the Dow was 1,700 when I started trading. So just to give you some perspective there. It's a lot higher now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of earnings rallies, Netflix is up 6.6% this morning, post earnings last night. They reported great earnings. They beat just about all the metrics that Wall Street could ask. It's up. So it's trading $730. That is $733. That is just short of an all-time high that it reached on October 11th. So that is one that that is just blowing higher. What was your take on Netflix, guys and girls?
Licia can start if she wants, but people like Netflix. They like their Netflix. So they've definitely, for all of the talk of everybody else like Disney Plus and you know, whatever, Hulu and all the other studios, nobody has still been able to match Netflix as far as maybe Amazon Prime, but that's mixed up and everything.
Wow.
As far as the delivery of content. I mean,
Well, I'll tell you, the new episodes of Emily in Paris are appointment television for me.
I don't even know what Emily in Paris is.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
But my wife likes it.
oh, okay.
Netflix, when options were issued on Netflix stock, it came to our pit and Citigroup, and it, you know, it was what? It was under $10 for sure. Back then, if you would have told me Netflix would be trading $700 one day, I would have said no way in hell. They were. That's back when they had the disc, the
DVDs.
the DVD. I can't even remember what they were called. The DVDs in the red envelopes, and you mailed them back and forth.
Everybody's like, that'll never work. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, Blockbuster was gone.
It's crazy.
Hello, if I had some insight, I would have had some stock. I would have kept some stock. But yeah, no, I didn't have any idea.
But I you know, I think they've learned. I mean, they know how to deliver things. You can like the content or not, whatever, but they know how to deliver. You know, they know their business well, and everybody thought, you know, that Netflix would kind of crater when you had Disney Plus and all these other streaming services. But I mean, you got to be realistic here. Look at Warner Brothers. I mean, you want to put up two charts, Warner Brothers versus Netflix. I mean, it's kind of, and
Paramount,
it's sort of a joke, to be honest.
Disney as well. I mean, Netflix. I mean, how many Disneys is Netflix worth?
Wow. It's probably, I think, at least two now, $300 billion market cap. So
that's
not,
think about that.
You know, and Netflix doesn't own theme parks, doesn't own hotels, doesn't have 100-year catalog. I mean, you know, a lot of times too, it's, everybody says this, but as far as basically, yeah, they're a third higher market cap than Disney. But I mean, just Netflix is run better. I mean, their mix of content that they create when they got into the content creation business, they seem like they've always been one step ahead of,
yes.
You know, they did the disc thing first, pretty smart, right? Obviously very smart. Then remember when the stock cratered because they were going to the all digital streaming version, right? Everybody's like, they're stupid. They're gonna kill their business. Wrong, like totally wrong. And I think that's when Carl Icahn bought a bunch. I think split adjusted, he probably paid like $2 for it or something.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is why he's got like, you know, $20 billion. He's
a smart guy.
Yeah, a pretty smart guy. But they've always been a step ahead. So, you know, it's just a very well-run company. And they seem to always stay somewhat ahead of all the brouhaha on, you know, the social media, wokeism, all that stuff. They seem to have controversy, but they have a wide variety of content for basically everybody.
On one hand they've got Emily in Paris, on the other hand they have Is It Cake, which might be the greatest television program on the planet.
Right. So
Is It Cake might be the best. I don't know if you watch Netflix, but if you don't, Is It Cake, folks? Trust me.
What is that?
It's literally a show where bakers try and make things that look like real objects, and then like,
Oh,
and it, but believe it or not, they're so good that you can't tell.
that is a
Wow.
Like
cake.
it'll be like, which one's the football? And you're like, I have no idea.
That's amazing.
But see, that kind of content, you're going to get a lot of viewers, right? Because
Oh,
you
yeah,
can hit
I mean,
everybody with it.
that is family viewing. Me, Valentino,
Yes,
and Lauren,
it
we
is.
sit around and watch Is It Cake? Speaking of Is It Cake, what's not having a piece of cake day? Procter & Gamble and American Express, old line companies. American Express, great earnings, but loan loss provisions up, and their guidance was on the lower end of their previous revenue estimates. They're looking for 9% growth. Previous had been 9 to 11%. P&G, strong earnings, but they're still not growing in China. They said it's going to be a little bit longer before they can continue to grow in China. So P&G down about 1% today. AXP down about 3.5%. When AXP is taking loan loss is seeing increased loan loss provisions, that has you worried because they're not usually in the game of their user base and customer base is a different type of customer
Yeah.
than your Visas and MasterCards. Any hot takes there on AXP and Procter & Gamble?
At least for AXP, will it continue with Visa, MasterCard, and everybody else? Because if AXP is doing it, you should see it from the other ones because you also got Square, PayPal.
Yeah.
Most of those, Square and PayPal, though, are just direct consumer, right? They're not debt. They're not in the debt business.
No.
So it's just straight transfer. So it'll be interesting to see how that sort of plays out. But it would be worth like, okay, if American Express is, that can't be great for Visa or MasterCard. So I would look at, those could be a little potential short going into earnings.
Yeah, that would make some sense. P&G, you would look at maybe a Colgate Palmolive and ask yourself, and a few of those other names and ask yourself, is the whole consumer staples, high end consumer staples, it continue this kind of sector weakness. Now, are there any earnings for next week that you're excited about? And I'll close on, before we jump around. Are there any earnings that you're excited about for next week?
I haven't even looked yet.
Yeah, there's a couple. Give me 1 second.
I'm excited for Tesla for sure.
Okay.
That's the first of the major grade 8 ones. I'm excited for IBM. I think is going to be
IBM,
a really
definitely.
important one. That's going to be a really important one. It's the first like real AI B2B, B2C, really B2B report. They're actually selling AI, and what are they doing with it? And that I think that'll give us a real insight into whether there's some long-term run on demand for AI, right? The NVIDIA run-up has been all on the assumption that these build-outs are going, if you build it, they will come. Well, IBM is the one who's going to tell us if they're coming, right?
Right. Well,
So
another thing too, like the two big
IBM.
stories over the last 3 weeks or that I thought were interesting in this space, Mark, was like Amazon now and Microsoft have both tried to license or kind of take over the energy output from nuclear plant.
Yeah.
Like so Microsoft, 3 Mile Island, and Amazon just wanted a small nuclear reactor cluster for data centers. So they're looking 5 years, 10 years down the road already for energy. So they think they're going to spend big dough making sure they have, they're trying to lock in nuclear energy. They're not trying to lock in solar. They're not trying to lock in wind. Like, just give me the power plant. And I'm going to run.
The thing about nuclear is that it is from a, obviously there is a little bit of risk in the trade-off for the risk of 3 Mile of interestingly, one of them was 3 Mile Island. In the trade-off for kind of a 3 Mile Island type of event, you have the reliability, right? That you don't get out of wind and you don't get out of even solar. Although,
Right.
you know, it's sunny here in Texas, 300 days a year. That's still not 365 days a year. Whereas nuclear, you know, you've got that uranium and that's going to run every single day constantly. And
Right.
it's relatively clean compared to, I mean, it's clean compared to coal for sure. Right.
Right.
So that's the angle there. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Right. And you're seeing
So-
like some technology, like you think nuclear subs run all over the planet, right? Nuclear
Yeah.
aircraft carriers.
Right, right.
And, you know, just saying it could be the future, but you're seeing also, I didn't highlight it next week, and, you know, I will highlight some of those stocks here. But there is money moving into that sector, and there's not a lot.
Yeah.
Right. There's not a lot of companies that kind of play in that space, and a lot of dough has been pouring into it lately.
You know what's one earnings that I'm not excited about for next week?
What?
What?
General Motors. Do you want to know why? Because
What?
do you want to know why? Because no
Yeah.
matter what they report, they will not be producing Andrew's trading vehicle. And this is the section where Alicia and I go get a cup of coffee, and Andrew takes us for a ride in how he wants to build his trade this week. So with that, take it away, Andrew. You like how that was a good transition there.
That was
Very
very
good.
good. No,
All right.
you that's why you do the transitions. You are the best. Lewis,
right,
if you
take
want
it
to
away,
put up I think the VIX chart slide, hopefully if I gave it to you, probably this one I want. The other one. Sorry. Okay, there we go. So we have the election. And I think right now, there's the possibility of an October surprise, whatever that looks like. There's a lot of speculation. But normally, when you see VIX cash in this line, VIX cash is just the index, the green line, over the futures like it is right now. That dip for December is a seasonal anomaly, basically. The December trades a little because of all the holidays and everything. But you have that no future kind of, peeking up there. That's the first one on the left, right? Oops, other left, right? That way, I think. Is it that way? No, this way. There we go. Right. So the no future right there on the left. Normally, that is a market that is moving 1.5% a day intraday easily. General volatility. People, we're in what I call zone 3. We're in the sort of the third quartile of volatility. You look at this volatility signal from the market, and you would assume a lot more is going on. And what is going on, though, is the election is basically, the market is trying to price the election similar to how you would price earnings. So basically, everybody knows that on the 6th, we're going to have an election, and nobody's quite sure what's going to happen, which is pretty hard to believe, but that's what it is. How the election is going to play out post. So there's a bid for the straddle post-election, and the terms after the election are still relatively expensive, considering how much SPX is actually moving. Because remember, Licia and Mark saying, "Hey, we've had a 12% rally since August 5th, so the market's been going up. Realized vol is very low, so the market is pricing either an October surprise, something we don't know, or it's pricing some sort of post-election mess, in my view, because how VIX is trading now doesn't relate to anything real, or as far as market action goes. if we had market action like this, normally VIX would probably be about 14, 13, 14. So it's an extreme premium. So we're pricing things that have not happened yet, but it is very much like just Netflix, right? Netflix moved $40. So they probably had the straddle price $35, $40, something like that. And then you got the big move. Now volatility will come down after earnings, but you had the move already. And that is similar to, I believe, how the market is pricing this period between now, the election, and just after. Now, what is also odd is, if we go to the next slide, Lewis, is so this is VIX looking like this. So also, again, with that higher higher VIX, so that VIX backwards setup, you would expect VXX, which is a volatility product that owns futures, to have pretty high implied volatility, meaning nobody knows what's going to happen. VXX moving 8 to 10% a day, $5, $6 up and down. Like generally, you get some pretty solid moves. And right now, vol is like nothing. It is as low as it's been in the last, since prior to that August pop. So I think this is kind of, in me, a little bit of an opportunity. So I think that the post-election volatility, November 15 cycle in VXX, probably a buy. I've been trying to purchase it. They're not really selling it to me. Liquidity providers aren't. Because again, you could get the post earning, you get the October surprise. Right now, I believe the market is looking at Trump leading in the betting polls and stuff like that. So if that continues, right, you're looking at market go up, probably continue the path that it's on right now, I would say. But again, October surprise, again, that could push volatility up. If there's a surprise, that could drive SPX down before the election. So VXX is priced this way because the VIX futures are priced the way they are, meaning in backwardation, VXX usually doesn't do very much. It moves basically up and down a little bit, but the market is not expecting very much if volatility is this low. So the market is not expecting an October surprise as far as VXX volatility goes. Again, very odd. So there's a lot of strange signals going on right now, but again, I think you could price relatively inexpensive VXX strangles going into like the no 15 cycle going into elections. So that would be my trading vehicle right now. And there you go. You're basically one side gets you the surprise. If everything actually goes better than normal, one candidate wins, or you don't have basically you have a kind of a winner. That's a clear winner. That would collapse volatility in my view. So, and we would be way low. We would be much lower as a relief that the thing is over post-election. So that's my trading vehicle for today. And I'll turn it back over to Mark and Licia here for the last couple minutes.
All right. Nice vehicle, Andrew.
There we go.
I like it. All right. So yeah, and Andrew, I love the topic that you brought up because we've had this odd behavior that should be, and we got a couple minutes, so I want to talk about this, and I know you pointed this out. One second here, if I can share. Not letting me share my screen all of a sudden. I'm having trouble sharing my screen. All right.
Steve is saying hi.
What?
Steve hi, is saying hi.
Hi, Steve.
So we'll just talk about it. So we all know the VIX has been is currently about 19, and you talked about that in your trading vehicle. VXX is high. Market volatility not delivering, right? The market has been, to say the least, not volatile of late. By every metric that I look at, volatility is not producing a 19 VIX. The average daily range of the S&P 500 has been less than 1%. It's been moving about 50 points. That is going to produce about that's going to produce about a 13 VIX. And then if you look at realized volatility, so that is how much we're moving close to close over the last 20 days, realized volatility has been 9%, and 10-day has been 11%. So basically, that also is going to give you about a 13 VIX. So VIX is rich by about 6 points. Now we've seen the polls, betting markets. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal that 4 accounts are really moving the betting markets pretty aggressively. So the betting markets are one thing. The polls are still pretty tight, but moving in one direction. But if we start to get some real clarity out of the polls and we don't see VIX pull back, there might be something going on. And Licia and I talked about this at the top of the show, and this will be our last subject before we kind of talk about what we think is going to happen on the day. The bond market looks ill. Post Fed rate cut, we are back to where we were in July. But bond volatility is higher than it was on August 5th when we had the Japanese carry blow up, and has not pulled back like the implied volatility. So that just gives me pause that there might be some other risk factor we're not taking into account. I don't know. Do you guys see any other major risk factors out there besides the election? I don't think Iran-Israel is at this point. It's become kind of a known quantity. Do you guys see anything out there?
No, the only thing is October surprise to me. I still think there will be a little something going on prior to the election.
Yeah.
But
to me, it feels like they keep it propped up, and then once the election happens, no matter who wins, they'll some air's got to come out of it.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying it's going to crash. I'm just saying they got to okay, let this thing go
right.
where it's supposed to.
I did not, like you said, we're up 14% since August 6th, you said. I mean, that's incredible. All right, so here we are. We're kind of running up against it. S&P 500 futures are up 16 points. NASDAQ futures are up 133. NVIDIA is currently looking to break its all-time high again. Apple is up $4. What do you guys got what are you thinking for the day?
I'll go first. I think that it's going to be an inside day. I think we may test yesterday's high on SPX, comes in at 58.78 half. I think it's going to be an inside day. I don't think we may test it, go a little bit above, but I think it's going to contain it and be an inside day.
Andrew, what do you got?
I'm going to just say I concur. I think at this point, we would need to see big tech earnings come out for really seriously higher prices. And I know we're so close to 6,000, but I don't think we can get there until after the election. So I think we're going to see a lot of this jump
right before.
Until then. Huh?
Alicia,
I say we hit it right before. We still have 3 weeks.
We still have 3 weeks to go.
We kiss it, and then yeah.
All right. I'm going to go rug pull. I think we're going to get a repeat of today, but we're starting off a little softer, and I think they're going to pull us back down below. S&P futures are 59.04. I think they're going to pull us back below 5,900 and rug pull us lower back toward 58.75. I think we'll close down about 20 points. Still an
Oh,
inside
really?
day. Still an inside day, but I think we're going to close down about 2025.
Okay.
Kind of like what we did yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Just starting from a lower point. That's kind of what it feels like. I think they're wanting to sell the rips right now a little bit. They don't want to full on sell, but I think they're like kind of trading it a little bit. And I think they're trading this a little bit more than we realize. So I think they're gonna take this back down. And there you have it. All right, folks. It is 8:17 Central, 9:17 Eastern. The market is about to open. We will, if you want more information, come visit us at optionpit.com. You can follow Andrew at optionvol, Licia at profits and pumps, and I am at option pit. We would love to. We're looking forward. We'll be back next week, as we are every week at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So for Andrew T. Giovinazzi, the Viking of Volatility, and Licia J. Leslie, the Queen of the Candlesticks, I am Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. This was Option Pit Live. Have a good one.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.